Well, let's see. A little sniffly. It's raining outside, and I did take the dogs on a 3 mile walk. They were pretty happy. Um, they're Welsh, so they're fine with the water, the wet. It does seem to give me a little bit of the snooflies, though. I don't think I'm sick. I think it's just allergies, postnasal drip, and probably all the moisture. But I did do my vocal exercises, though embarrassingly, I do try to record it, and then I wanted to listen to it because I was working on high notes today, like in my falsetto, like way up there in my range, and I neglected to turn on. I'm using OBS to record the lessons just so I can screen cap and do the whole bit, and it seems to be the easy way. And I don't know much other software for that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I apparently left it recording last time, so it recorded about 48 hours of um, idle time, really. So I don't think it recorded, and then I found it and I shut it off, but I think it was still probably processing. But OBS let me start recording again, but I don't think it, for whatever reason, hasn't processed or captured uh, the new video. So um, I don't know if I get to do my review of what I sound like under fire, especially there, because I was a little pitchy and I didn't warm up, and I did all the mistakes, I think. So I was a little pitchy. I do put like I was mentioning, a Peterson Strobo Stomp. It's an electronic strobe. I mean, still, really good and accurate, but um, I do like it. I get to see uh, the note name identification in the octave too, because I'm jumping octaves, and I should know the octave, sure, but it's just good to have that feedback. And um, the strobe's a little. I'm getting used to that I'm used to it for instruments and things, but I'm not that used to it for voice. Uh, I don't know if a needle would be better for voice or not. But I am used to reading the strobo tuner. But and then I think maybe it's just my abject panic when I'm off. Uh, but it went okay. It went okay. I'm glad to be able to do it, and I'm glad that I took the time to do it. It's not that long. I really can't push it. I think the voice, especially the falsetto stuff, I don't want to push on that too hard and do myself a singing related injury. That would be not so great. But it does make me want to work on my speaking voice as well. I don't really know how to do that. I don't know if I've got any speech impediments. I am a tongue thruster, which is always have been, which is when I swallow. I mean, speech therapists do deal with it. They're used to it. It's a mechanical problem, uh, a problem in my dynamics, in my. I don't think I've got a structural problem. Just my swallow. What it is anyway. My mechanics is when I swallow. Most people, I think, can kind of create a wave in their tongue, or uh, and sort of move the water that way. I actually push my tongue, thrust my tongue forward, and just displace the water so it shoots back, which is not good for your teeth. The backs of your front teeth get pushed, and that's orthodontia and stuff. Um, so that's a real drag, and I don't know how to fix it at my age anyway. I think I'll ask my friend, actually my dear friend who I talk about, who I've known for over 40 years. Uh, his wife is a speech therapist, speech pathologist, speechy person. I should ask her. I think I'll do that. Uh, yeah, anyway, uh, so I did want to just check in. I did that enrichment. I'll do another enrichment a little bit later. Did get some chores done. There's always too many chores to do. It's 16:49 right now, so I guess I got a little time. The dog should be pretty sleepy. There's that they get on the walk, sure, but they were pretty wet, so the mild hypothermia, where they'll kick in. Um, so they're napping in their little dog beds, which will then I'll have to dry. um, yeah, so but that felt positive. That felt good to do. It really did. I'm trying to make time for that, and the funny thing is, taking that time, I think helps me with the rest of productivity. I've gotten in a hole with the chronic pain and things I've talked about before, and inflammation. Um, you know, for what I think was a few years. Uh, So this is sort of energizing, and it's small bits. And I think I like the fact of vocal training. One, something I fear, absolutely fear, but I'm doing it. Um, and it's not as bad as I thought. Uh, I mean, there's a lot to it, but there's a. I'll talk about that. I don't need to ramble your ear off right now. Um, yeah, but it's not the total disaster that I thought. But I like the fact that it does, because I'm a beginner and physically shouldn't do it for too long. It keeps it in a nice bite-sized piece, especially that I took a day off. Um, I don't have that drive to, or I can't succumb to a drive of it's like, uh, oh, well, I took a day off and I am starting to make progress, I think. At least I'm working the program. So I'll just put more effort into it. And, that's what I'll do. And that'll work for me. But that's not a good idea with this. There's only so much you can handle. I mean, I think I could do another small bite later. So that's good for me. So I think the whole thing's pretty good for me. I urge anybody out there to uh, choose something and do that. And I think it's really neat to to fix something you've convinced yourself you're bad at. I can talk a little bit about that later, but there is something to that. I think we hypnotize ourselves. I think it's one of the classics is sometimes I've tutored people in math, and excuse me, I'm going to sniffle for a moment. Unfortunately, oh wait, you know what? I bet this does have a little bit of a cough switch. If I rotate this mic up, I bet it'll mute. It does. I'm not sure that's great for a cough switch, but it's okay for a mute. Anyway, you get those people, especially people who they convince themselves they can't do math. And they're like, my brain doesn't work that way. And it becomes almost a badge of honor, especially among, I find, people that, they've decided they can't do the analytics, the quantitative stuff. So and this isn't a criticism of them. I think we all do that. The ego fortress of, well, I want to feel good about myself. So, um, maybe they buy into the idea of, slightly that they can't do math or that maybe they don't, it takes them a little bit longer to get going in it. And maybe even they've had teachers, or for whatever reason, circumstances that say, oh, you're not, doing that well with the mathematics part. But they default to other things. It's like, well, and, then they find value there, maybe something that they fit into more easily at the beginning. And so I think it becomes this feedback loop where they, need, they being me too, I'm sure of things, well, we can talk about that. But I digress too much. I'm going to work on that part too. Uh, I think the classic is I'm a creative the arts person. I'm a creative. My brain doesn't work that way with the math. And then they shy away from math and they convince themselves they'll use that. My brain doesn't work that way, or my mind doesn't work that way, or I can't think that way. I don't think that way. And I think there's two parts of that. There's the ego fortification of uh, my mind doesn't work that way because I am a, super creative, and uh, they separate themselves from the mathematics that way, and they almost reinforce the if any difficulties, and create a lack of interest and a lack of effort and a defeatist thing towards that. Uh, and it's weird because certain things like proofs are incredibly creative, and when you got to, there's strategies and some of the word problems and stuff. Well, there's a number of ways to solve it. It's like I got to crack. It's not it's not this just this um, rote way of doing things. You're like, ooh, I got a strategy. I got to work this out. Um, yeah, and so I think probably with singing, I'm not alone in that. I think I can't carry a tune in a bucket, or that okay, they just want me to mouth watermelon when I'm doing the eighth grade chorus class or whatever. Um, so choose something like that and go. You know what? I've hypnotized myself. Maybe I've bought it from the outside. I bought into people telling me from the outside I can't, or I've internalized that, when I bought it, I internalized that. Maybe it's not from the outside, maybe it's just from you, maybe there's a bad experience, whatever it is. But you've you've convinced, you've bought into the narrative that you can't do it, that's just, I can't. I'm no good at it. And sell it back, throw it away. Even if you're not good, who cares? I mean, just do it and try to repair it. Make it a thing. It's like, I'm going to improve. Not you're going to be even good. I'm going to improve that. I'm going to fix that. Uh, don't sell yourself short. That I can't do that. I get my brain. It's not possible for me to do that. Um, yeah. So I'm endeavoring to do that. I welcome you to do that as well. And I will talk to you later. Thank you for listening. Just let me ramble about that.